The dust settling over big primary elections in Illinois. We're going to talk about not who won, but who voted, because that may have a bigger impact nationally. With us now, CNN chief data analyst Harry Enten. So let's talk about what we saw in terms of turnout.
Democratic enthusiasm through the roof. They are so excited, they just can't hide it. What are we talking about? Share of Illinois midterm Democratic primary ballots. In 2022, Democrats cast 53% of the primary ballots compared to 47% of Republicans. Look at what we have in 2026. Hello, we're talking about Democrats casting 68% of the primary ballots with an estimated more than 90% of the voting, outvoting Republicans by a more than 2-to-1 margin. What was a very tight race in 2022 in terms of primary ballots cast in the Illinois primaries became a blowout for Democrats in 2026. As I said, Democrats very enthusiastic in Illinois.
I was just going to say, and that's what's notable here, because it can be indicative of enthusiasm, which can carry on over time. What are we seeing in terms of primary turnout for Democrats compared to, the 2024 elections?
We're right now talking about Illinois, right? But now we've had 5 primaries this primary season. I decided to tally them all up. What share are Democrats making up of the votes cast so far? We're talking about 55% of the votes cast so far. Arkansas, Illinois, Mississippi, North Carolina, and Texas. Not many blue states on the board right there, a lot of red states, yet Democrats are outvoting Republicans. Very much unlike what we saw in 2024 when Kamala Harris's vote share in those same exact states was 46%. So now Democrats are the majority of primary ballots being cast, and Kamala Harris actually lost cumulatively in these states to Donald Trump. So these are red states, and they are turning blue in 2026.
And this is something that I learned only from you, which is that when you're talking about turnout in a primary, how predictive is that in terms of which party is turning out more?
Sometimes I'm academic, but I like to be in the real world as well. This is not just an academic discussion. Why is this important that Democrats are turning out in such large numbers? Because take a look here. National primary turnout edge by party, then went on to win the U.S. House of Representatives that fall. In 2006, it was the Democrats. In 2010, the Republicans. In 2014, the Republicans. In 2018, the Democrats. In 2022, the Republicans. When one party outvotes the other one in primaries during midterm primary seasons, they then go on to win the House 5 out of 5 times. The fact that Democrats are so enthusiastic this primary season is very big news come the fall, because historically speaking, that means they have a very delicious fall. They go on to win the House of Representatives.
And what are the prediction markets thinking about all this?
Yeah, okay. So you see this, you see the primary votes being cast, right? What about the prediction markets? What about the cash prediction markets? Chance Democrats take the House in 2026. You go back to just before Election Day, 2025, Democrats had just a 58% chance. Hello, we're now talking an 84% chance, near record high for Democrats to take back the House, according to the Kalshi prediction market. Very much matching what we're seeing so far this primary season. Democrats are so enthusiastic, they just can't hide it. The same as I feel every single morning when I'm with you.
As Robert De Niro said in Untouchables, enthusiasms.
Enthusiasms.
Democrats now have their candidate for the Senate race in Illinois. The state's Lieutenant Governor, Juliana Stratton, won that primary, beating out 2 veteran members of Congress. The seat favored for Democrats to win, a race that, though, has been closely watched as a test of what direction the Democratic Party is heading into the midterms. But it appears, while we wait for that answer a little bit more, it appears we already know, though, one big winner in this contest, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. He gave millions to boost Stratton's campaign. CNN's Steve Conterno is in Chicago. Was there watching people as they went in to vote yesterday. So what happened? What did we learn?
When you talk to these campaigns just a few months ago, Kate, the overwhelming sentiment was that U.S. Representative Krishnamoorthi was ahead in this race. He had millions of dollars to his advantage. He was virtually the only candidate on the air in all of 2025 through the winter. But Stratton had that key support from J.B. Pritzker, the state's very popular and also very wealthy Democratic governor, who not only campaigned overtime for her her in recent weeks, but he also put upwards of $10 million into a pro-Stratton super PAC that helped her get her message out. And that message was far more progressive than the other leading contenders in this race. She was the candidate who supported Medicare for all, a $25 minimum wage. She was the only one of the top contenders who said that she would abolish ICE. The other ones wouldn't go that far. She also said that she wouldn't support Minority Leader Chuck Schumer to lead the caucus going forward. And I have to tell you, at one of her events on Saturday, that was one of the biggest applause lines that she received. She also ran a rather notable ad, and it didn't get on TV much, but it generated a ton of buzz. And that was one where it featured voters saying a four-letter expletive, Trump. So that got a lot of attention for her, and you can really feel the ground shifting here in recent weeks and the momentum turning in her favor. And this is what she had to say last night as she addressed her supporters at her victory party.
Together we've confronted one of the most frightening moments of our lifetimes. But despite the fear, we never lost sight of what's most important, and that is courage. Courage inspired me to run. Courage powered this campaign. And courage will bring this fight straight to Donald Trump's goal.
Now this is not only a big win for Stratton, but it was a big win for Pritzker. It would have been a little bit of a blow to the Illinois governor if his handpicked candidates would have lost. There have been some questions about his political operation, and of course he is someone who's considering a run for president in 2028. Instead, he gets a close ally, a black woman in the U.S. Senate, something, Kate, he could potentially point to if he does decide to run.
Illinois held Democratic primaries to choose candidates for this year's midterm elections. The state's lieutenant governor, Juliana Stratton, will be the Democratic nominee for Senate. She will face former Illinois Republican Party Chair Don Tracy. In the solidly blue state, Stratton is heavily favored to win to replace retiring Senator Dick Durbin. Now, if she wins the Senate race, Stratton will be just the sixth black woman to serve in the U.S. Senate. In her celebratory remarks, she said that she and her supporters will maintain the courage to challenge President Trump.
Together we've confronted one of the most frightening moments of our lifetimes. But despite the fear, we never lost sight of what's most important, and that is courage. Courage inspired me to run. Courage powered this campaign. And courage will bring this fight straight to Donald Trump's goal.
Lieutenant Governor also thanked Governor J.B. Pritzker for his support. He ran unopposed in his primary. Pritzker will be running for a third term against a familiar opponent. CNN projects that the Republican nominee will be Darren Bailey, who lost the 2022 election to Pritzker by nearly 13 points.